The work that I'm presenting today was a collaboration with my co-authors Rahel and Micah from Georgetown University, and Elena, Miles, and Adam from the George Washington University. In the past decade, colleges and universities have steadily expanded online course offerings. The COVID-19 pandemic significantly accelerated that pace as in-person classes were quickly replaced with remote instruction. And this rapid increase in online education has led many educators to use online proctoring services to administer remote exams. Online proctoring apps and services are software products that watch students as they take tests or complete schoolwork. Some services require students to install browser extensions, while others require standalone software installed on students' personal computers. The proctoring software is used to confirm students' identity, prevent access to unauthorized resources, and monitor student behavior. Student monitoring may include the use of the webcam, microphone, computer screen, and network. And monitoring techniques range from a simple lockdown browser, which prevents students from using the web, to more invasive techniques, such as eye tracking, meant to ensure that students don't look off screen for too long, and environment scans that record students' surroundings. This data collection is used to provide proctoring algorithms with the input they need to flag students' behavior as suspicious. Given their capabilities to monitor and limit functionality where installed, students and privacy advocates have raised concerns about their security and privacy properties, and media coverage has highlighted major security and privacy incidents involving widely used exam proctoring tools. In our previous paper, Examining the Examiners, we investigated the privacy and security perceptions of the student test takers who undergo remote proctoring. In this work, we were motivated to explore how educators balance the security and privacy of their students with the requirements of remote exams. Educators are the decision makers in the classroom and choose which remote proctoring services to use and the level of observations they deem appropriate. With this in mind, we created 3 research questions. What are educators' perceptions of online proctoring services? Do educators consider student privacy and security when configuring proctoring tools? And which proctoring methods do educators select to proctor their online exams? Our study recruitment was conducted at the George Washington University, a large private university in Washington, D.C. Surveys were sent to all educators who taught a course during the 2020-21 academic year, and 125 educators completed the study, which was conducted in December of 2021. Our IRB-approved study contained both qualitative and quantitative questions, which focused on the educators' use and perceptions of remote proctoring tools, the effectiveness of the software, the proctoring methods used, and educators' security and privacy concerns for their students. Instructors from all 12 university colleges participated in the study, and the schools of arts and sciences, medicine, and nursing had the largest number of educators who used the exam proctoring tools. We'll now look at some of the key educator-reported results from our study. Of the educators surveyed, 21% had used online proctoring during the 2020-21 academic year. And of those educators who used the exam proctoring tools, 65% had administered 5 or more of exams with the tools. And the exam proctoring software available at the of the exam proctoring software available at the university, the most used was the Respondus software. When educators described their reasons for using the proctoring tools, participant 77, for example, said, being assured that cheating was kept to a minimum would provide the confidence that grades were well earned. Some common response themes included to protect the integrity of the exam, COVID safety issues, and the tools were easy to use for them. When educators described their reasons for not using the proctoring tools, participant 24 says, I concluded that online proctoring software represented a significant invasion of students' privacy. Some common response themes included potential harms to students, the educators decided to change their assessment format, a lack of confidence that the tools prevent cheating, and concerns over student privacy. We found that educators were more likely to use proctoring tools under certain conditions. For example, 65% reported they were likely to use remote proctoring if there was a need for completely remote learning, while only 35% reported they would be likely to use the tools in a hybrid learning environment or with completely in-person learning. I will now report on the results of research question 1 about educators' perception of online proctoring. When asked if online proctoring exam tools were a good solution for monitoring exams, over half at least somewhat agreed that they were a good solution. And when asked if online proctoring tools offer a reasonable trade-off between students' privacy and the integrity of the exam, 46% agreed that it was reasonable. And when asked if the tools made it less likely that their students will cheat, the results were actually split evenly between those who agreed and those who disagreed about the reduction in cheating. Educator 25 highlighted a common theme when they explained about the tool's effectiveness. They don't prevent cheating. Students can always look up ways on the internet for workarounds, but they do deter cheating. And where educators were asked if the exam proctoring software had actually reported cheating during one of their exams, 38% reported that it had done so. I will now report on the research question 2 about educators' security and privacy considerations when configuring the proctoring software. When the instructors were asked if they agreed that the exam proctoring tools were privacy invasive, only 27% agreed to this, while 46% agreed that they were concerned about the risks to student privacy when using the tools. And when asked how concerned they were about students installing the software created by the exam proctoring companies on their personal computers, over half reported that they were not at all concerned. And when asked to explain their concern or lack of concern, Educator 7 says, "We install so much on our devices, so I don't see this as a higher risk than other applications." Some common response themes included a lack of concern for students' computers and a transfer of trust between the university that provides the software and the proctoring software itself, and the potential for privacy and security risks from the software. Educators are concerned about students sharing certain types of information with the exam proctoring companies. Part of the process of taking an online proctored exam is to verify the identity of the exam taker. And this process may involve sharing personal information with online proctoring companies. We asked educators to rate their level of concern for the specific types of information that students may be asked to share. Many educators were extremely concerned about students sharing their social security number, and some educators were moderately concerned about students sharing data or sharing their date of birth, while many of the other data types were less concerning. I'll now report on research question 3 about proctoring methods educators used to proctor their online exams. Of the 12 monitoring types that we studied, the lockdown browser was the most used, followed by the webcam recording, then microphone recording and face detection, while mouse movement tracking was the least used monitoring type. Also, educators reported using an average of 4 total monitoring methods for their exams. Educator 6, when describing their monitoring method, said, "The lockdown browser was critical, and eye movements can pick up if a student is looking at notes outside of the view of the camera." Educators who use proctoring services are often comfortable with their monitoring capabilities. When educators reported their level of comfort with individual monitoring types, most stated that they were comfortable with the lockdown browser, but several educators were somewhat uncomfortable with the webcam and microphone recording, face detection, screen recording, and eye movement tracking. When asked if they would use the same monitoring options again, 62% said that they would indeed use those again. Now I'll report on some of the takeaways and key recommendations. Exam proctoring is a form of monitoring software that has seen explosive growth. 21% of educators surveyed use online exam proctoring services during the remote learning period, and 35% plan to continue using the tools when there is a full return to in-person learning. These software systems are naturally invasive, and the consequences of security vulnerabilities and breaches are significant, especially given the private information collected about students, for example, their physical location, photos and videos of their environment, and information about their competing devices. Educators who use online exam proctoring services are often comfortable with the monitoring capabilities. However, educators are concerned about students sharing certain types of information with the companies. We found that that of the educators who use the online proctoring tools, many considered the trade-offs between student privacy and the utility of the tools, deciding that the need for academic integrity outweighed the potential privacy and security risks to student test takers. We found there was an evidence of a transfer of trust between the institutions who license and provide the online exam proctoring software and the software itself, and educators believe that their institution would not only would not provide the software to proctor exams if it was not safe for student use. There is an opportunity for improved training and guidance at the institutional level that provides both the pros and the cons about online proctoring and the associated privacy and security risks. Such training should include the technical details on how exam proctoring tools can be used while maintaining a principle of least monitoring by using the smallest number of monitoring types necessary given the constraints of the class. Moreover, institution-led training can provide a clear usage guidelines to set expectations for both educators and students. Thank you, and I would be happy to answer any of your questions.